So we're playing the video game of life, and in this video game of life we often lose control of the controller. We don't have the controller anymore. We're playing GTA. We sat the controller down. Maybe we hit the controller or something happens and our character starts walking around, and we are the character that's walking around with no control from our higher self anymore. And that's kind of how I feel our spirit feels, our connection to source can feel it sometimes. You can almost see that you have to do something, yet you'll still ignore it, put it off, do anything but that at all costs. I know that I want to be making more YouTube videos, really focusing on my spiritual practice instead of focusing on negative thoughts, beliefs that were never my own, just things that people told me about myself that I have been holding on to for so long. And even starting a YouTube channel is puts you into another form of ego, which I've been aware of, but it's always like the next thing, that's what the ego does. That's the human conditioning, or just, biology in general. I feel like that's how humans are. We tend to want something else in the future, whether it be long term or short term, and that can be a good thing. But when it's to do with something like happiness, where you're just always like, well, I'm not happy yet because I don't have this, and then you get it, and then you're still not really happy because it doesn't feel as good as you thought it would. And when you can kind of realize that you're just chasing the feeling of having that thing, you're not actually chasing that thing most of the time. Like, yes, money and like things like that will bring you more freedom, more opportunities to do what you want, and having something is good, but it's really the feeling that you get from money of having the freedom. Having that freedom then in turn gives you a feeling of being free, and ultimately free from worry. And worry is stemming from your ego and identification with thought patterns, beliefs, limiting belief patterns that were never you, and realize that you don't owe anything to your old identity at all. You don't owe your old identity anything, and it's hard when you're around people and they still see you as the old version of you, and they're very caught up in like, oh, that's a person, that's just what he is. People will define you by certain characteristics, and that's just kind of like what they've got in their head, and if you do something other than that, it seems a bit weird. I'm sure we've all been through this, especially if you've ever talked about kind of an out there topic around certain people. A lot of times it doesn't go over well, but when you're stuck in ego, you normally don't know. And that's why when you tell if you tell someone who is the most trapped in ego that there is, right? You tell them, hey, you're making a lot of decisions based on your ego, and explain the ego and how it's like a mechanism programmed to help you to survive. Gosh, I can't talk for some reason. How it's a mechanism programmed for you to survive, and like giving you kind of like always this feeling of like, I've got to do this, I got to do that, identifying with things, always on the hunt almost. You try and explain that to them and how they're making a lot of ego-based decisions, they're gonna be like, oh, you idiot. Like, they're gonna probably go back with more ego, saying, I have no ego. What are you talking about? I have no ego. Like, that is the definition of having ego, is when you're completely unaware. So the fact that you're even aware that the ego is a thing is a good thing. Like, I'm not saying I don't have an ego. I'm just saying the more that we can become aware of this ego, the less it has power over us, and the more we can use it to our advantage or transcend it through present moment peace. So I'll probably expand more on this. These are a lot of basic ideas, I know, but I just kind of wanted to refresh my own memory and just everyone else's, because I have been caught in my own thoughts, and there's a lot of people who could possibly be new to all of this and really need to hear that, because that was probably the most profound thing for me, was being so overly attached to my thoughts. Like, my whole life, your self-image and your identity are always flexible. You can do whatever you want right now, no matter what you've done in the past, no matter what mistakes you think you've made, no matter what you did yesterday, no matter how many times you've said, I'll do it tomorrow, but you didn't do it. Do it today for all the times that you said, I'll do it today, but you never did it. Do it for that reason alone. You know, that's something that can motivate you. You know, how many times have you given up? How many times have you said, not going to do it, just go back to my old ways, live a mediocre life? You know, I'm so guilty of this. It's a message to myself, most importantly. But what really is you? You are not these thoughts. Most powerful thing you could probably learn. You're not your thoughts. Keep reminding yourself. It's very hard to go back into that trap, especially when you get influenced by others. Being around other people can be difficult when you're trying to be present and like people are like gossiping or like talking about things that kind of put you back in that low vibrational state where it's like you're comparing yourself to others. You feel like you're missing out on things. You know, you feel like everybody's doing better than you. You're worried about you're not getting enough likes on your social media. You're not fitting in. You don't have enough followers yet. All this BS, man. None of that's really going to matter. The only thing that's going to matter was your happiness. If that has to do with being yourself and working for something, then you've got to do that, and that's what I've got to do. I've got to be consistent, keep making videos, but I've also got to be a little bit more strict on myself in some ways. Not strict, it's not like I've got to do something. I've more so got to let go of things that are lowering my vibration, things that are bringing me down. It's more about letting go of things that don't serve you on this spiritual journey than it is adding things to your identity, adding more spiritual identities on top of yourself now, like, oh, I'm a star seed, I'm a light worker. Like, yes, I do talk about those things, and I mentioned this before, but those are like new labels. It's a way for all of us to like find each other. I get it. But some people, I feel, sometimes might get caught up in this new identity and kind of base decisions off of like their past lives and things like that like you're here right now. That's like, I don't have no problem with that stuff. I've definitely made videos about it, and I probably will continue to. But I'm just saying, you know, I have many identities now. Like, I'm a YouTuber now. Like, what does that mean? Like, it can be a helpful identity, but just realize you don't have to give any of these identities power. So stop being your own worst enemy. That's what I mean. Just stop worrying about fitting in. Stop worrying about letting your thoughts take you over. You're not even your thoughts, dude. Like, what are you doing? We're just all here right now, experiencing this weird little planet who knows what is even happening. Like, it's honestly crazy. Like, look at these animals. There's just a dog, a a bird. What are trees? Like, what even are trees? What is a tree? In other dimensions, there could be so many other colors, but we just can't imagine them. So many other species of people, like, even besides the ones that we've heard of, the starseed type things. Like, we're in one little galaxy, one little part of this crazy universe, and yet some people think, oh, they've got everything figured out. That's basically my message. Don't worry so much about having it all figured out. That's why I get so discouraged sometimes, trying to come up with video ideas, trying to place so much value on external things like my subscribers, my videos. Like, I gotta do this, I gotta do that. It doesn't really matter. Just do what you love. Be passionate about it, and people will feel that vibration underneath it. That's the most important thing. It's not about faking it. That's why I can't make videos sometimes when I'm going through the dark night of the soul or things like that. I just feel like I'm faking it, and it's just like I can't be real. Like, sometimes I'll be real and I'm down a little bit. Sometimes I'll be real and I'm crazy. Fluctuates. See a negative thought. Don't place judgment on it. Say, oh wow, that's my ego. Who am I? Take a deep breath. Breathing helps. Take a deep breath. Be in the present moment. Realize that you really don't have to give any power to your past whatsoever. And this is how you begin to create the life that you want, because you are starting to see a new path that you can take, where you don't have to make all of your decisions based on what other people will think, what you just kind of have programmed into you that seems safe. You need to go outside of your comfort zone in order to really find true comfort. That's the truth, honestly. So while it seems weird, it seems uncomfortable at first, it will become comfortable. And when you actually face your fears, that's the most gratifying thing. When I originally started making YouTube videos as probably elementary schooler, or no, probably like very young middle schooler, maybe 5th or 6th grade, elementary or middle, and I was making movie reviews and these little short movie films, and they're kind of cringy. I mean, you get what I'm saying. Like, some of these videos probably are to those people, but that's what I'm saying. I'm putting myself out there, not getting discouraged by the fact that I deleted that channel because I was too embarrassed of what everyone was saying. Like, some people were saying things to me about it, and just very insecure. And breaking free of your insecurity is so much easier when you realize none of this really matters so much. Placing all of your value in external things is what really gets you caught in the ego. No one and their opinion has power over you. You can take it into consideration, but don't allow it to rule your life. Your ego does not have power over you. Stop being your own worst enemy and talking yourself out of doing something because you're too scared of failure. What I'm more scared of is failing because I didn't try and wasted my time sitting there thinking about how I could do something or wanting to do something instead of actually doing it. That's what scares me more than just failing because I tried and it didn't work out. And I think that's a good way to look at it. Like, wouldn't you rather at least try And when you look back on this, in whatever way you do, I think that you will be proud of yourself for actually going for it. So, peace out. I got a lot more to come. Not sure exactly what I'm going to be talking about. Maybe some more crystals, some more ideas. But playoffs tonight, baby. Game 1. You know who I'm repping. Los Angeles Lakers. Game 1 versus the Blazers tonight. Who you guys got? Let me know in the comments. If you watch sports, I do know the agenda of sports. Don't get me wrong, but it's very fun to watch for me. Don't judge me. I love me some basketball, and we finally got it back right now, so it's fun. We got to win the championship for Kobe this year, so I think that's one of my 2020 predictions. Peace out, guys. Love you all, and have a great, amazing life doing what you love, not what other people would love for you to do.